As we dive headfirst into the next arc here, I thought this chapter did a nice job of kind of doing some world building and laying out the 5 lands. Naruto, number 9, The Worst Client. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another chapter on the fun-filled tale of Naruto. Our last chapter, of course, saw us wrapping up the introduction arc, and really just kind of the life lesson being taught, which for me was a very big thing because it's something that I try to preach, especially to my children, was obviously the necessity and the importance of teamwork. So that's really ultimately how the chapter ended, and now of course Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto have passed and are now going to actually be, we assume, be going on missions and things like that. Kakashi, did in fact pass them, and we also found out that Kakashi has never passed anybody before. So this is definitely a benchmark as far as this never happened before. So we will dive right into this chapter. And it picks up, it's kind of cool how the backdrop is set. It looks like they're in the forest, and they're all working together as a team, and you're thinking, well, maybe this is months later, and they're like this elite team now working together, right? It's like Mission Impossible, One of them's like, where's the target? Is it sighted? Another person, oh, it's 5 meters to target, Are we going to close on it? Closing on it, and it's great, because you're thinking, oh, man, this is cool. This is some secret spy, next level ninja shit, right? And then you go and you find out very quickly after you turn a couple of pages, right as they're about to dive for it, Sasuke and Naruto, it looks like, as they're going to dive for it, you see the outline of this thing, and then you flip to the next page, and it's a frickin' cat. So they have been tasked, given the menial task of going on, and they've been relegated to going and doing these little chores and errands, and this was just an example of one of them. So they wind up bringing the cat back to its owner, and she's the wife of this of this big name person, and she's just kind of this big overly lipstick wearing, looks like she got hair and a curlers type of woman that just like squeezes and annoys the shit out of the cat. And they had to, of course, check for this tag that was on Tiger's right ear to so you'd know it was him and not just another cat that looked like him. Anyway, they return, and it's so funny because they're just like, God, I can see why the cat wanted to escape, So they go there, and then the Lord Hokage is going to give them their next task, and he's like naming off all these just trivial menial things: babysit the council, do this, take, and it's all just these just busy work errands, And it's funny because Naruto's like, no, bullshit, man. I call bullshit. We want some action, And leave it to Naruto, It's great because he's like, these things are stupid that we're doing. So it's funny because you get Sasuke, his like little inner thought is like, yeah, he's got a point, And then Sakura's like, God, he just doesn't, he's just not respectful type of thing, She just hates Naruto. And then Kakashi's just like, just be grateful that we have work type of deal. So the Lord Hokage goes and explains, listen, we're tasked with a number of different, we get a number of different requests every day. And I kind of like how there's this whole working system, because I didn't know about any of this coming into it. Remember, I'm kind of fresh to the whole world and universe of Naruto, and I just assumed like, okay, well, these guys are like, they're ninjas, and they get assignments, and they go out on these assignments. I didn't realize they kind of take everything from like getting groceries to like assassinations and everything in between. What this does is it allows them to go and create different levels. They have A, B, C, and D tasks, and then they're handed out to that particular to who they think would be based on this ranking system. There's of course the junior ninjas, which everybody in here, they did a nice little diagram too. They show that there's of course what they call them the genin, the junior ninja, and then there's the chunin, and that's a journeyman ninja, and that's like Iruka. He's a journeyman, and then Kakashi, he's actually a jonin. He's an elite ninja, and then the Hokage, of course, is the leader. And it's neat how they go and they show this breakdown, because then they go and they show the breakdown of the tasks, and based on their difficulty, and obviously probably if there's resistance involved, an assassination is going to be handed out to somebody that's higher up in the ranks, as opposed to just a simple, getting a cat out of the tree or going to get groceries for someone that's older or sick or something like that. So I do like how there was an actual breakdown and how there's rhyme and reason to it. And the reason for that is because when you create a world, and you can fill a world with characters, but if the world itself isn't alive and vibrant and doesn't have a working infrastructure, then it really just doesn't work. It winds up eventually falling apart. The lipstick comes off the pig, as I like to say. So it is kind of neat to see that there is this working kind of environment within this, and that some of the lower level, lower tier, recently, you know, graduated ninja that don't really have any experience have to do several of these menial tasks and be successful at them before they can be given ones higher up on the ladder. So I thought that was kind of cool. And it was just funny because Naruto is just basically like, screw this, man, you know? So he's just thinking, so the Hokage's explaining all this, and Naruto's just sitting there and he's talking to himself about what kind of ramen he's going to have that day, right? And they're just like, oh, he's like, I'm going to be in trouble for this later, but I'm sorry. Every time the old fart talks to me, you know, he's always going, he goes and he says this and that, and then he goes and he explains why, and I don't care. You know? I just want to get some action. So the Hokage, he goes and he says, all right, that's fine. You want something? We'll give you this task over. We're going to give you this escort mission, right? And I thought that was kind of cool. I'm like, all right, you know, he's going to give him something. So you see, all right, Naruto was getting all irritated and everything like that. And then, so then he goes and he's like, oh, okay, well, you know, he's excited about getting something. And the Hokage even says to himself, he's like, you know, he's never been able to actually ascend past anything other than this troublemaker, right? So this is going to be a good opportunity for him. And he figures, all right, you know, so anyway, so he goes and he says, you know, bring him in. We're going to get this done right away, right? So they bring in this guy, and he kind of just reminds me of like this sort of just old, like he's got the wire rim glasses, you know, and he just reminds me of like one of them old like Asian drunks, man, that's just sitting around like, you know. And so he comes in and he immediately goes and he's just like, is this a joke? They all look wet behind the ears. He's like, and what's with the midget? And they're like, what, midget? And then it's funny, the way it's drawn, they go and they show Sakura, Sasuke, and flanking Naruto, and Naruto's actually the shortest out of the three, and they show like a line above him. And then when Naruto figures out that he's talking about him or whatever, you know, he goes and he's just like, oh, that's it, I'll kill him, you know. And Kakashi's like, no, we don't kill the people we don't kill the old man that we're actually helping, assigned to help, right? So we wind up finding out that this is the assignment that they have to protect him and get him to, you know, back to his home, right? And we find out, and he says his name is Tazuna. He's this master bridge builder, and they are going to, of course, escort him and this and that, you know, back to. So that all winds up kind of wrapping up that little portion over there. And then they go and they actually meet up, and they're going to go, and we would presume it's the next day or later on the day or what have you. And they're of course going to protect them. You know, that's what they're tasked for. So they go and they start asking some questions while they're on the thing. Well, first of all, he goes and Tazuna just goes and digs into Naruto even more, you know. And Naruto's like, you better respect me. One day I'm going to be Lord Hokage. And he's going on and on about this and that. And he's just like, I wouldn't respect you even if you were the Hokage, you know. So just getting under Naruto's skin, and Naruto goes and he wants to kill him again, you know. And Kakashi's just like, God, stop it, dunce, you know. So I really kind of like the comic relief in that, and it is really kind of neat to see it happen. So then we wind up going, and things go and move along, and as they're going and talking to each other, they wind up asking him about where he's from, and he explains that he's from the land of the waves, and that's of course where they have to escort him to. And then they wind up talking about, is there any ninja there? No, there's not, but don't worry, this is a sea level mission. We're not going to encounter any other ones. We're not gonna, you know, it's more or less just this escort mission is how they break it down to be. But then the nicest thing is, and I'm going to go and put it up here in a second and talk a little bit about it, is that they go and they give a breakdown and a map, which I love, of the actual land, a breakdown of, you know, how everything works within that government and the Hokage. There's 5 of them, how they are in charge of all these thousands of ninja all around the this world, and it's very, very cool. So we will go and cut to that. And then be back in a second.
Yeah, fine. Okay, I'll read it. You pay me nothing, but yet I still got to read stuff about the 5 lands now. For most of the countries on this continent, the ninja villages serve as the military force. They protect their own people and handle the ongoing relations with neighboring countries. Yet the villages do not answer to the rulers of their native countries. Instead, they are on an equal footing with the government. In the case of very small island nations, where an invasion would be difficult to mount, a ninja village is regarded as unnecessary. Among the various ninja villages in particular, those located in the lands of Konoha, Kiri, Kumo, Suna, and Iwa are large, and their strength is immense. Those are called the 5 great lands of shinobi. They are also the only places where the shinobi leader calls himself a Kage, or a shadow.
So then the chapter goes, and as they're kind of walking along over there, I thought it was kind of cool because then, they're just walking along like nothing's going on, and all of a sudden, as Kakashi walks past this puddle, they show the puddle. It looks like a puddle anyway, and all of a sudden, it looks like this almost like wraith comes up out of it. This almost like otherworldly creature, and as it starts to materialize and form, it looks like it has this kind of metal gauntlet on its hand that just looks wicked, right? And then they go and they show in the next panel, another one comes out and jumps out. It looks like there's two of them, And these two, I guess, ninja, shinobi, I don't know if they're assassins or what. I'm assuming probably something along those lines. But they've got these cool-looking gauntlets on, and these gauntlets go and shoot out almost like a Spider-Man-like web, but it looks like, but I'm assuming that it's probably like a metal, a barbed wire type of thing or something like that, because they wind up both shooting at the same time from behind, and wrapping these around Kakashi, around his upper body and his lower body, and then they're just like one little piggy, and they go, and you see in the next panel, you just see just blood fucking spurting everywhere, and I'm like, what? They just ripped Kakashi's ass apart? Now, everybody's told me about how much they like the character and everything else, so I'm going to assume that Kakashi went and pulled an okey-doke on him and used some, wound up swapping something else out or wound up using one of his advanced techniques to only make it look like he had gotten pulled. At least that's sure as shit what I'm hoping, because he just got ripped apart, And then, so obviously everybody else kind of catches on to what's going on. They're like, no, Kakashi, and the chapter winds up ending with Naruto turning around, and he looks like, oh boy, I'm going to fuck somebody up, and then he winds up just saying, he's like, two, or I don't know if they say two, I think he says two little piggies to them because there's two of them, because he heard the one little piggy thing. So I thought it was definitely cool. The way it was done was great. Obviously, you just got the blood spatter there that was just ripped apart. And I was like, I'm reading this and I'm like, holy shit, And then I go and I look and I'm like, what the hell? They're, Master Kakashi, So everybody is freaking. And then it's just like two little piggies. So, or maybe, you know what? Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it was that. Whatever, who cares who said it? The point is, that's how the chapter ends, and I thought that it was done very well. So, my chapter question for you, because I'm getting a little too long-winded over here, is ultimately, what are your thoughts on the maps and just kind of giving that background and that world-building aspect of it? Is it something that's important to you, or do you think, because again, difference of opinion here. I may think it's important, you may think, I don't give a shit. Let me know what your answer to that question is in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. But anyway, we'll look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Do you like cleavage-bearing cuties, hats, or cheese in a can? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you should go on over to my Instagram or Facebook page.